Let's dive into Carys's training so we can stay consistent at home. Whenever she's doing behaviors that we want to keep seeing, whether that's following our commands or she's being nice and calm, we want to reinforce and reward those behaviors with either praise, petting, or treats. And then whenever she's doing things that we don't want to see, whether that's not following our commands, she's jumping up on us, or she's being rude, we want to follow through with the training equipment to decrease those unwanted behaviors. So let's dive into Carys's training equipment. This is her prong collar. She's going to wear this whenever she's on a leash. How we take this on and off is we're just going to secure one side and push the other one through like so. To put it back together, we're going to pinch this prong and put it through the holes of the other prong. How we use this, say she's in the heel command, which is the nice loose leash walking on the left side. Say she starts to pull ahead or does something that we don't want to see. We're going to say no, follow through with a pop of the leash, and then remind her heel. So no, pop, heel. And then, of course, when she gets back, verbal praising and petting and rewarding her with treats so that way she knows where she's supposed to be. And then the leash is going to attach to the D-ring that swivels. Now with the remote collar, how we turn this on and off, red dots on the collar and the remote, we're going to touch these together. That green light flashing means the collar itself is on charge and ready to go. On and off button on the back of the remote, we're going to push and hold until the screen lights up. You're going to see level 20 or 15 appear on the screen. This is Carys's working level as of right now. How we use this, say she's in the heel again and starts to do something that we don't want to see. We're going to say no to mark the incorrect behavior. Follow through with the black S button, heel, no, button, heel. S just stands for stimulation, so it's kind of like an electric muscle stimulator. So depending on the level of distraction we have, we may use one of these, we may use both of these, just depends on the situation we are in with Carys. Now with the remote collar, it's going to be the first thing that we put on the morning and the last thing that we take off at night, so we always have a form of communication with Carys throughout the day. Now with the prong collar, this is going to be whenever she's on a leash. So in the beginning, she may have the leash and prong on in the house to introduce the new commands and the new boundaries that we have with her, and then we can slowly fade away from needing the leash and prong on in the house. That is all of her training equipment. Now let's go over her commands. We've already kind of gone over the heel, but whenever you take her out on walks, I suggest about 80 to 90% of the walk is in the heel command. And then the other 10 to 20%, we can give her release word free. Free means she's not in a set command. That's going to be where we follow her and let her do her business rather than her following us. Now we have sit. Sit means stay as implied until she's given the release word free. This is really good for whenever we have doors, so that way she isn't just bolting through doors. So whether we're approaching a door in or outside, we're going to have her sit. Sit means stay as implied. So if we open the door and she gets up, we're going to follow through with the training equipment until she gets it right, so we can set those same boundaries at home that we have here at the facility. And then you have two options once she sits and stays. We can either heel through the door with her or we can tell her free. Just depends on the situation that we are in. Now we have down. Down also means stay as implied. With all of Carys's stay commands, we're never going to call her from a distance. So we never want to put her in a sit or a down or while she's doing place and then walk 10 to 20 feet away from her and then call her to us, because she's getting rewarded for coming to us and not staying in her stay command. So every time we're practicing a stay command, we're always going to go back to Carys and release her from where she's at. And then when rewarding this one, we want to reward low to the ground so she knows where the positive zone is when she's doing her down. But say we do a little distraction and she gets up and comes to us. All we're going to do is say no to mark the incorrect behavior of getting up, follow through with the training equipment, approximately get her back to wherever she was, have her get in the down again, practice whatever it was that made her get up, and then we can go back to her, reward her, and release her from where she's at. Now we have place. Place is a boundary state, ideally on an elevated bed. So this is really good for whenever we're having company come over or we're eating dinner. So she can experience everything, but she's not in the way doing unwanted behavior. So say we're practicing place and she gets up. No big deal. We want to make sure we have the leash and prong on so we can guide her back to the place bed if we need to. But just like with the down, if she gets up and goes somewhere, we're just going to grab the leash, get her back to the place bed, practice it again until she gets it right. With this one, we're going to practice or we're going to reward on the place bed so she knows where that positive zone is. And then we're always going to release her from where she is. So first practicing this one, especially with bigger distractions, leash and prong on in the house to introduce it with the bigger distractions and at the first time. And then we can slowly fade away from where she doesn't need it anymore. Now we have come when called. When practicing this one, I suggest a 30 to 50 foot leash so that way we have a communication tool at a distance apart and she's not off leash running around and we can't communicate with her. Yes, we do have the remote collar, but we want another form of communication just in case she decides to ignore us. So when practicing this one, we want to let her free, let her go do her own thing. Once she's nice and distracted, we can say calm, nice, loud, and firm. Once she turns towards us, we can praise her as she's coming to us, have her sit when she gets into our space, and then we give her a treat. Say when you're practicing this one, she decides to ignore us because she's extra distracted. No big deal. We're just going to say no. Follow through with the training equipment, whether that's a pop of the leash from the long leash or we use the remote collar, and then we're going to call her again. Just because she made a mistake out there doesn't mean we're not going to be positive though. So we're still going to praise her as she's coming to us and have her sit and give her a reward because we are always going to be the positive zone. And then with this command, we want to reward every single time. So we're building up that positivity of doing this command every single time, which builds up the history of getting rewarded for it. Now we have leave it. Leave it just means don't grab that. When practicing this one, start out with dog safe foods, just in case she does grab it. And I would also suggest having the leash on so we can guide her into different scenarios if we need to. Toss something on the ground, say leave it. If she does, great. If not, we're going to pop the leash or follow through with the remote collar until she can get it right. You can see in the video, every time I toss the treat, she tried to snap at the treat. That's why you can see me laughing at her. But as long as she's not trying to get it off of the ground, we're good. And then you have two options. You can either tell her free and then let her eat it off the ground, or you can never give her that option so she never thinks it's okay to eat stuff off the ground. But that's completely up to your standards for Carys. But that is all of Carys's commands. So reinforcing and rewarding things that we want to keep seeing is very important. But then also we want to follow through with our training equipment so we can decrease those unwanted behavior. Whether it's the barking or the redirecting, we want to make sure we're using our equipment correctly, which we will go over in the lesson today. We're going to have fun, stay consistent. Now we're going to watch Carys do her commands. Sit. Sit. Carys, come. Good job. Sit. Sit. If they're in the van, sorry. How are you? Sit. Down. Good girl. Down. Girl. Down. Good. Down. Down. Girl. Down. Free. Good girl, Carys. Let's dive into the other feature of the remote. We've already gone over how to turn it on. Now let's go over how to turn it off. Same concept as turning it on. These red dots are magnetic keys, so if we touch them together, that turns off the collar itself, but these turn on and off separately. So that back of the button, that big button, we're going to push and hold until the screen goes blank. So that way while she's wearing her collar, she can't accidentally turn it off. Now the other buttons on the remote, we've already gone over that black S button. That is going to be whatever number we see on this screen. So right now it's level 15 because that is what is working for Carys. But say you start practicing with her and you realize that 15 isn't enough or she's having too much of a reaction. So what we're going to do is hold down on this dial until the 1D at the top of the screen starts flashing. And then we can rotate this to whatever number we want. But right now, level 15 has been working for Carys, so what I'm going to do is lock that in place by getting back to 15, pushing down on the dial until that 1D stops flashing. So that way when we put this in our pocket, we're not accidentally changing it to another number. Now underneath the black S button, we have the red S button. This is a boost feature. So right now it's on 15, but if I press the red S button, it is going to jump it to 40. So whatever number is on this screen, it is going to jump it 25 levels. Now, this is a boost feature that we can use in emergency cases. So say Carys is doing something dangerous like chasing a car or chasing after something and she's not responding. So we can have an instant communication with her when she's doing something exciting, because level 15 reaches about here when nothing's going on. When she's doing something dangerous, chasing a car, having fun, she is up here. So we need a way to communicate with her in those situations. So red S is for emergency. On the other side, we have a T button. This stands for the vibrate button. We like to use this to make sure the collar is on and ready to go and that they are both ready and on. But once she gets further into your training, you can definitely use it as a warning button. Now on the back, the on and off button also works as a flashlight feature. So rather than pushing and holding, if we press it, it's going to turn this on to a flashing flashlight. Second time is a solid flashlight. Third time turns it off. So if you let her out at night, this is really nice to be able to see her and see where she's going. Right next to the on and off button, we have the M/C button. This stands for momentary or continuous. At the beginning of Carys' training, we introduced this remote in a positive way at a very low level on continuous. Then when she got further into her training, we go up to a little bit higher of a level and we move over to momentary. So she should stay on momentary the rest of her training. That is what that M on the screen stands for. So no matter how long we press this black S button or the red S button, it is only going to stimulate as long as this is flashing red. So that one slight flash, that is how long it stimulates. Now they both are rechargeable. The charging port is right underneath the on and off button for the remote and in between the prongs of the collar. If she wears it for 12 to 14 hour days, it should stay charged for 2 days. So if you charge it every other day, you should be good. The collar itself also starts to blink a different color once it starts to lose its charge. It'll go from orange to red to let you know. It also comes with a dual charger, so you can charge them both at the same time, so they're both on the same pace and one doesn't die before the other. Now it comes with other prongs as well. I've already switched it over to the longer prongs because Carys has very long hair, and I noticed that these prongs weren't making good contact because they are shorter. But if you notice or you give her a little cut and she doesn't need the longer prongs anymore, you are more than welcome to switch her over to the short prongs. But right now, the longer prongs have been working great. And it does come with a tool to change that over. Now at the bottom of the box, we have the manual. So if you want to go over any of the other features or you just want to read up on the remote and color, absolutely more than welcome to. Like the vibrate feature can also be a tone feature if that's something that you want for Carys. Both of them are waterproof, so if they get wet, not too big of a deal, but if Carys is going to stay wet for an extended period of time, I definitely recommend rotating the collar so that way it's not irritating and rubbing one part of the neck from being wet. Now on the back of the box, you have the company. There is a 2-year warranty, so if you have any issues with the remote and collar, you can absolutely get in touch with them and hopefully get a new one sent over or get it fixed. But that is all of the features of the remote. So just like in the beginning, we're going to have fun, stay consistent, and that's everything.